FRM Part 1, Quantitative Analysis. Next aim statement is linear regression with multiple regressors. Under this aim statement, we will define, interpret and describe methods for addressing omitted variable bias, which is common in the case of linear regression. Then we distinguish between single and multiple regression. Then we look at slope coefficients. In the case of multiple regression, there will be multiple slope coefficients there. Then we look at the condition of homoscedasticity and heteroscedasticity and their impact in multiple regression. Then we look at the ordinary least square estimator in the case of multiple regression. We also look at the interpretation of measures of fit in the case of multiple regression and the various assumptions of simple multiple linear regression model. And then we look at the concept of multicollinearity, imperfect and perfect, and their implications. So let us start with the basics. In multiple linear regression, we have this kind of model. If we remember, in the case of simple linear regression, we had a model of yi is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus error term. So this was xi. So yi is the dependent variable, xi is the independent variable, and I is 1 to n, where n are the number of observations in the sample. Beta naught was the intercept coefficient, beta 1 was slope coefficient, and ui is the error term. And there were certain assumptions in this model as well, which were the error term has to be normally distributed, its expectation must be 0, its variance must be constant or the condition of homoscedasticity, etc. We have similar assumption in the case of multiple linear regression as well. We will look at them separately. So if we look at this model, there are multiple independent variable. In addition to x1i, we have x2i, x3i up to xki. And we have their corresponding slope coefficients. So we have the same intercept coefficient, but we have multiple slope coefficients. We have multiple independent variables. So in this case, we have k independent variables, and as usual, we have an error term. So it is on the same lines as simple linear regression. In addition, we have some more independent variables in this case. Again, we have ordinary least square estimators where the error term has to be minimized. By minimizing the error term, we can find out these coefficients. So if we calculate the error term, we can have yi, and rest of the formula can move to the left hand side, and it will be yi minus beta naught plus beta 1 x1i plus beta 2 x2i and so on up to k independent variables. So this is the error term which needs to be minimized, and while minimizing that using OLS method, we will get these regression coefficients. So now we can formulate the multiple regression equation on the same lines. We are going to estimate the regression coefficients. There will be intercept coefficients and slope coefficients, and we are going to have their standard errors. So that will help us in doing any hypothesis testing or estimating. So we can write it in this way. For intercept, we are going to have the estimated value, the coefficient, and then its standard error. Then for slope coefficient 1, we have the value of the coefficient and then its standard error. Then for slope coefficient 2, we are going to have coefficient and the standard error. And based on these values, we can do the t-test, which will tell us which of these variables are more significant, which are less significant, etc. Now let us look at the next concept, which is the omitted variable bias. So this is a bias which can be created in linear regression. So it happens due to the correlation of the omitted variable with the included regressor. For example, if we are using this model b0 plus beta 1 xi plus error term. So we are including only one independent variable in this case, only one regressor. But if there is another regressor, for example, that is x2i, which we have omitted, which we have not included in this model, and that regressor is correlated with the existing regressor, in that case there will be omitted variable bias, and there could be another case where x2i is determinant of the dependent variable, which is yi. So if x2i is determinant of the yi, then also omitted variable bias will come into the picture. So when we are omitting an important variable from the model, then the assumption for linear regression will get violated. And now, irrespective of the sample size, our ordinary least square estimators will become inconsistent. So we will not be able to use them for prediction of the coefficients. So we need to be careful that we are not omitting any important independent variable from the equation. Let us move to the next topic. The concept of homoscedasticity. We have already seen in the case of simple linear regression that the error terms have to be constant. The variance of the error term has to be constant for all independent variables. In this case, in simple linear regression, there was only one independent variable. So we looked at the conditional variance of error term over that particular independent variable, that has to be constant. But here there are multiple independent variables, so the variance of error term for all the independent variables from I equal to 1 to I equal to k has to be constant for fulfilling the condition of homoscedasticity. That is an assumption of multiple linear regression. If the dispersion of the error term is varying over the sample, then this condition is not fulfilled and we say that error term is heteroscedastic. Let us move to the next concept, the measures of fit. This will tell us that how good our model is, whether our model is able to predict the value of dependent variable properly or not. So we use standard error of regression, which is going to measure the uncertainty about the accuracy of predicted values of dependent variable. In this case, we have yi, which is our dependent variable, and yi cap is the predicted value. So how reliable this value is, that will be told by a parameter called standard error of regression. If the error is high, the reliability of yi cap will be lower. So SER, the standard error of regression, is basically the standard deviation of error terms in the regression model. So if the error term is small and stable, the deviation is low, then it will be called good fit. Let us look at the formula of standard error of regression, SER. It is square root of SSR, which is sum of squared residuals, divided by n minus k minus 1, where n is the number of observations in our sample and k is the number of independent variables in the equation. And we already know the SSR calculation. It is nothing but yi cap minus beta naught plus beta 1 x 1i plus beta 2 x 2i and so on up to beta k x ki. This is the residual, and then we have square, and then we sum them up from I equal to 1 to I equal to k n. So this becomes our SSR, which is to be divided by n minus k minus 1, so that we get the standard error of regression. If we remember, in the case of simple linear regression, we had the value of k equal to 1. So we had the formula as SER is equal to SSR divided by n minus 2. So this was the case for simple linear regression. In the case of multiple regression, we are going to have the value of k, whichever is applicable in this case. Let us look at the other parameter, which is coefficient of determination. This is the parameter which will tell us how good is our model, how much of the variation in the dependent variable can be explained by the independent variables in the equation. So this is represented by R square, coefficient of determination, and the formula is ESS divided by TSS. ESS is explained sum of square, variation which can be explained with the help of the model. The sum of squared residuals, this is the square of residuals and then summation. This is what is minimized in ordinary least square estimation. And then we have TSS, total sum of squares, which is nothing but the summation of explained part and the sum of squared residual part. So this is total sum of squares. So if we want to calculate R square, which is ESS by TSS, we can also write ESS as equal to total sum of squares minus sum of squared residuals divided by TSS. So this is how we can rewrite the formula in other terms. This coefficient of determination is going to tell what percentage is being explained by this model. Suppose the value of R square comes out to be 0.837. It says 83.7% of variation in independent variable y can be explained by this model, by the existing independent variables. For example, x1, x2, x3, whichever are being used, they together in this model can explain 83.7% of the variation in the dependent variable. So that reflects how good our model is. But in the case of multiple regression, there are some adjustments to R square. We have adjusted R square because pure R square does not reflect the goodness properly. This R square itself may not measure the explanatory power of multiple regression model reliably. And the reason is, if we are including one more independent variable in the equation, the value of R square goes up a little. Though the contribution, the marginal contribution of the newly added independent variable to the model may not be so significant statistically. So if we are adding lot number of variables, the value of R square looks larger, but actually does not increase the explanatory power of multiple regression. So for that we need to have a formula of adjusted R square which penalize for more number of variables. So we are preferring the number of independent variables to the level they are contributing significantly to the model. So if a new variable is not adding any value to the model, we are ignoring that. So the adjusted R square formula should be given by, this is RA square, that is adjusted R square, 1 minus, then we have n minus 1 into 1 minus R square. This R square is original coefficient of determination divided by n minus k minus 1. So we already know n is the number of observation in the sample and k is the number of independent variables in our model. So this is how we calculate the adjusted R square value. So this adjusted R square value is always going to be less than or equal to original R square. And though R square can never be negative, this RA square could be negative. There is a possibility that RA square may have negative value. Now let us move further. Let us look at the assumption of multiple linear regression in detail. We have already talked about the assumption of simple linear regression, and all those assumptions are still valid in the case of multiple linear regression. First, there should be a linear relationship between the independent variable and dependent variables. The independent variables which we have chosen for the model should not be random. There should not be any exact linear relationship between the independent variables. In this case, suppose we have x1, x2, x3. Suppose there are 3 independent variables which are being used in the model. So they should not be linearly related to each other. Then the expected value of the error term should be 0. We have already seen it. Even in the case of simple linear regression, the expected value should be 0. So error should not be biased on either side. Then the error term should be normally distributed. The error term should be homoscedastic. We have already seen that the error term should have a constant variance. It should not change with the independent variables. It should be constant. So error term is going to be homoscedastic. The error term for one observation should not be correlated to the error term of another observation. So we can say error should not be autocorrelated. Let us move further. The problem of multicollinearity. We have seen one assumption that independent variables x2, x3, etc. should not be linearly related to each other. If they are linearly related, then there will be a problem of multicollinearity. So when two or more independent variables or their linear combinations are highly correlated with each other, the problem of multicollinearity arises, because we are violating one of the assumption of multiple regression. It is going to distort the standard error of regression SER, leading to the problem in the statistical test of parameters. We have already seen that standard error is going to be used in the case of t-test, and if that itself is distorted, then we will not be able to conclude anything properly from those statistical tests. Now we have two kinds of multicollinearity. One is perfect multicollinearity, where two variables are perfectly correlated with each other, and imperfect multicollinearity, where two or more independent variables are not perfectly linearly related to each other, but there is a strong correlation. So when the problem of multicollinearity exists in our model, there are strong chances of type 2 error. That is, we can wrongly conclude that a variable is not statistically significant. A variable could be statistically significant, but we may wrongly conclude that it is not so. So that can happen when we have multicollinearity in our model. Now the question comes, how should we detect the multicollinearity in our model? If we have high value of R square, the overall model says that a large percentage of variability in the dependent variable can be explained through the model, but individual coefficients of regression for independent variables are not significant. We are doing t-test individually for all the independent variables, which says that none of them is statistically significant. So that says there is a possibility of multicollinearity in that model. Now what is the correction mechanism? We can simply omit one or two variables which are correlated. Now let us take a few questions here. Question number 1 says, if explained sum of squares ESS is given to be 87.43 and sum of squared residuals SSR is 12.57, what is the goodness of fit for regression? Or in other words, we can say what is the coefficient of determination in this case. So we know the formula, it is ESS divided by TSS, where TSS is nothing but summation of ESS and SSR. So value of ESS is given to be 87.43, and if we add these two, we get 100, which is the value of total sum of squares. So 87.43 divided by 100, that is our answer. So A is the right answer, 0.8743. That is our goodness of fit, or we can say that 87.43% of variation in the dependent variable can be explained through this model. Let us look at question number 2. It says, which of the following values are not feasible outcome of a multiple regression model? Let us look at the values. Option A says R square is 85% and adjusted R square is 81%. That could be true. Adjusted R square could be less than R square. We have seen the formula. Even in this case, it is possible. Option C says the value of R square is 15% and it is minus 5%. We have already seen that adjusted R square can have a negative value, so it is possible. Option D says R square is 78% and adjusted R square is 81%. So this is not possible because adjusted R square should always be less than or equal to R square. So D is the appropriate answer. Let us take one more question here. Which of the following assumptions regarding multiple regression is the least correct? Option A says the error term of one observation is not correlated with that of another. Yes, this is the assumption in multiple regression. This is the autocorrelation assumption. This is correct. Option B says expected value of the error term should be 0. That is true. This is another assumption. Option C says the error term should be homoscedastic. That is also one of the assumption. D says the independent variables may be linearly related to each other. We know that they should not be linearly related to each other, otherwise the problem of multicollinearity will arise. So D is the right answer here. So that was all about the basics of multiple linear regression. Thank you.